first and principle, one of our commandments. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. You shall love the Lord your God out of and with your whole heart, and out of and with your soul, and out of and with all your mind, and out of and with all your strength. This is the first and principal commandment. The second is like this, and it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Amen. Amen.
Did you turn on Pastor?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody know my situation. You think about it. All right. All right. Remember I told you to take the formula. So I just Peter walked on water. He walked on water in the storm. Now what you doing? All right. I get it to the floor, but I think your eyes. Come over there. I got my eyes on you. I got my hands on you. Come over there.
Keep me from? Yeah. What you trying to get me to a boy? Yeah. You know, he gave me a sign and he didn't know it. Hold on, somebody. Hold on, it ain't just my family. Somebody watching me to be church. Somebody looking at me in church. There is God.
I said Jesus died for our sins.
Thank you.
Practice every day. Thank you, Jesus. Because we're pushing God behind.
Thank you. Thank you.
We sing songs and they go, this is for next week. I said, yeah, next week tomorrow. Church will be pushing God behind. Because the message of the song, yeah, we're going through church, but we're going through because God is bringing us.
Thank you.
I wish somebody could have got that.
Yeah.
The only way He can bring us through it, He got to go through it. It ain't got to make sense right now. So I don't understand better.
Yes, Lord.
I said it ain't got to make sense right now. And He ain't got to explain it to us. All you need to know is that God is with you. Lord. You let me wing walking about.
Just want to make it make sense one day.
My Lord.
We'll see one day if it's all worth it. It don't seem like it's worth it now. We see Jesus, we'll know if it's worth it. He'll show us one day. Church, in order to be a great champion, you have to defeat a great enemy. All right. You didn't get it. In order to be a great champion, you have to defeat a great enemy. Right. He shows us victory every day. Let's bless our church.
Sabbath, you guys. Sabbath. I'm gonna read the story, y'all. We're trying not to cry. I'm gonna read it. It's awesome though. This is talking about the sacrifice of a mom. Okay. My mom only had one eye, and I hated her. She was such an embarrassment. She cooked for students and teachers to support the family. There was this one day during elementary school where my mom came to say hello to me. I was so embarrassed. How could she do this to me? I ignored her, threw her a hateful look, and ran out. The next day at school, one of my classmates said, "Yeah, your mama only has one eye." I wanted to bury myself. I also wanted my mom to just disappear. I confronted her that day and said, "If you're only gonna make me a laughing stock, why don't you just die?" You know this story. This story would end different. My mom did not respond. I didn't even stop to think for a second about what I had said because I was full of anger. I was oblivious to her feelings. I wanted out of that house and have nothing to do with her. So I studied real hard, got a chance to go abroad to study. Then I got married. I bought a house of my own. I had kids of my own. I was happy with my life, my kids, and my comforts. Then one day, my mother came to visit me. She hadn't seen me in years, and she didn't even meet her grandchildren. When she stood by the door, my children laughed at her, and I yelled at her for coming over uninvited. I screamed at her, "How dare you come to my house and scare my children? Get out of here now." And to this, my mother quietly answered, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I may have gotten the wrong address." She said, and she disappeared out of sight. One day, a letter regarding a school reunion came to my house. So I lied to my wife that I was going on a business trip. After the reunion, I went to the old shack just out of curiosity. My neighbor said that she had died. I did not shed a single tear. They handed me a letter that she had wanted me to have. "My dearest son, I think of you all the time. I'm so sorry that I came to your house and scared your children. I was so glad when I heard you were coming for the reunion, but I may not be able to even get out of bed to see you. I'm sorry that I was a constant embarrassment to you when you were growing up. You see, when you were very little, When you were very little, you got into an accident and lost your eye. As a mother, I couldn't stand watching you having to grow up with one eye. So I gave you my eye. I was so proud of my son, who was seeing a whole new world for me in my place with that eye. With all my love to you, your mother. So what I definitely want y'all to take away from this story as children is there's no sacrifice greater. And there's nothing that your mother wouldn't do for you or your father. There's nothing that we wouldn't question if it was something like that. It's not a second thought. So I want you guys to always be considerate of that and to recognize when your parents are doing things for you. You got to know there is sacrifice in that all the time. And we as adults, the same as our Father. He gave the ultimate sacrifice, but there is nothing that he would not do for our happiness to make sure that we live a full life. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, because these microphones are too expensive. She should just drop the mic. I don't know why she thought that was a children's story.
I know.
That's why as parents, our praise, even if our kids praise don't, y'all, our praise got to shift.
Come on.
Yes, you know, as a parent, you know these kids.
Yeah. Come on.
But see, we sat there.
Yeah.
And see, we didn't beg for stuff and ask stuff. Didn't care whether they had it in the budget or not. We need this and we want and needed it. And as parents, see, we live the sacrifice now.
Yeah.
We had no idea the sacrifice that our parents made just for us.
Right.
And so, see, now as a parent, you got to praise God that I see it now. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. You know, you just hungry. And yeah, you don't feel mom and daddy's hungry or not. I'm still hungry. And you don't know if the extra piece of chicken that satisfied you also cost them to not have your chicken. See, as kids, y'all, we didn't know. That's right. And we didn't care. But see, now as parents, when you could only afford 6 pieces, and your kids then ate 5. And your wife is talking about, that's for your dad, that's for your daddy. But they crying because you know your kids hungry. So you got to live there. That's what this story is. And then you wait till you go like, from here. Y'all gonna leave that. And you go hungry so that they can get full. See, if you get that story right, y'all, it's some stuff God gave up. So us in this room can have something. Y'all ain't like you got 15 or 20 sons. And they just saying, it said he didn't have one. Y'all, the only begotten means he loved him like we love our only begotten. He didn't want to give him up. But he gave him up.
Amen. Lord. Thank you, Lord.
See, you embellished it last night. Because while God was happy with a son, he was willing to trade a son to get a family. I mean, somebody what a good place to thank him.
Yes,
Lord. So we get prepared to call upon his name, whether it's standing, sitting, or kneeling. Whatever your position is. Let's bless his name.
Our Father, which art in heaven, the Most High, our God.
Yes, God.
Just come before you humble as we know how.
Yes, Father.
Thanking you for the previous 6 days.
Yes.
Allowing us to go to work, go to school, to do whatever business we had to do.
Yes.
And while we were conducting that business, your mercy and grace was with us.
Yes.
Allowing us to have, being able to seek and know that you are the one and only.
Yes.
Who we should only depend on. There's no other. For we love you and we love the sacrifice that was given up for us.
Yes.
The only begotten Son who could only come into this world, Father, and do what he did. And we thank you for that mighty. We uplift him on high this morning.
Yes, Father.
For he is worthy of all the praise and the glory. Father, we thank you for the little children this morning that came forth in that mighty message that came forth from that sister.
Yes, God.
To know that children and parents are very important, as you showed with your only begotten Son.
Yes.
So, Father, we just thank you and continue to want to walk in the ways of him and thanking him in all things that we do, oh Heavenly Father.
Yes, Father.
Father, we want the word that come forth today to be a mighty word as always, to be a great word as always. And we know the man that will bring that word is your servant, who has it in him through you to bring that word to us. And we will receive it openly and with great praise, oh Heavenly Father. For there's nothing greater than your word being in our heart, minds, and souls. Let us be quick to listen in all things, but slow to speak in love and kind and understanding to one another. Let us love those who cross our paths, oh Heavenly Father, so we can know that that you are great in all things, oh Heavenly Father. Father, bless this congregation today.
Yes, God.
Bless
Yes.
all the married couples here today. Bless the ministers here today. Bless the deacons and their wives here today.
Yes, God.
Bless the singles here today.
Yes, Father.
Bless the people that will come today, oh Heavenly Father. Father, and we pray for all those who are sick right now, who are laid up in hospital, wherever they be today.
Yes, Father.
Father, we don't take it lightly that we're here today. For we know it's only by your grace and mercy that we're alive. And we thank you. And we just uplift all things continually before you. Let this day be a great day as we go into communion. Because we know that that was a great thing to remember and to conduct ourselves.
Yes, Father.
And know that there was a price paid that moment and that hour.
Yes, Father.
So we just want to honor you and be respectful in all things that we do in that. This is our prayer this morning. We ask it all in your Son, the Messiah, holy, righteous, mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Praise God. Amen.
That's y'all teaser for today. After this preacher preaches, Tina have something to say. After he preaches, that's your teaser for today. Now you can't go nowhere.
On 30, the bus ran to 45, 30 degrees minus, and she got to pray for their family because she lost a lot. And then, I don't know if she fell asleep. Because she had passed the garage exit. The bus, the seat was on, and she crashed, and the bus went into. Pray for her family.
Come on. Oh, come on, His word. His word is true. I believe. What he said. What he said. I believe. He will always.
Oh, Heavenly Father, as I stand before your people today, oh Heavenly Father.
Yes.
Just ask that I be emptied out, oh Heavenly Father. That I'm just your willing vessel, Heavenly Father, that you come in me, oh Heavenly Father. To come out to bless your people, oh Heavenly Father. As we do this message, oh Heavenly Father, you always first minister to me, oh Heavenly Father.
Yes.
Heavenly Father, just let your presence just permeate throughout this room, oh Heavenly Father. Let your feeling be felt. And I know you're ready for this word today. Thank you for everything that you've done, all the things you made possible. In your daughter's son, in Jesus' name we pray and say amen. Amen. The name of that song is Where the Wild Things Are. We're going to come from Matthew chapter 11. We're going to start at verse 18 through 24. The name of this sermon is Where the Wild Things Are. That's what we know today. All right? Where the wild things are. Matthew chapter 11, verses 18 through 24 reads, For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he hath a devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a man gluttonous and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, but wisdom is justified of her children. Then began he to unbreak the cities, wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethesda! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and in Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. We almost there. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. Wow. And thou, Capernaum, good old Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to the hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this day. But I say unto you, that if it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. You may be seated. All right. Amen. While doing the work of God, on our road to the kingdom, there will be obstacles and things in our place to try to derail us. All right. As me and the Lord was doing this sermon, the only thing that could come to my mind at the time was the Wizard of Oz or the Wiz. Depends on what household you grew up in. You may have seen both of them. You may have only seen one. Right. But both of them stand on the same premise. It starts out with Dorothy. She gets in a little quarrel with her aunt, but then she goes and runs and sulks in her room.
Right.
But as she runs and sulks, she gets in her room, and then a great tornado comes while she thinks she's having trouble. Has that been some of us before? And the great tornado comes and it bends around, and they try to get Dorothy, but she runs out for her little dog, Toto. But then she runs back to the house, and when she gets back in the house, the whirlwind takes the house up and carries it to a place that she has never been or seen before. Then when it gets there, she just happens to land on an evil witch. By the most of the time, the story will be over because the evil person is out of the story. But lo and behold, the evil witch has a twin evil stepsister. No, not stepsister, but an evil twin sister. And so when she gets out, everybody is exuberant, okay? And then she says she wants to just go home. All she wants to do is go home. But as she gets ready to go home, the fairy witch, whatever her name is, she comes down and says, well, you have a journey you must take. All right. You have a journey you must take to get home. But then if you know the movie, the evil witch comes and says, you killed my sister, I'm gonna have to kill you. But the witch wants something that Dorothy has that comes on her feet. There's some ruby red slippers, right? But she can't have them because they're on Dorothy's feet and not hers. But then she starts her voyage. She has to go on this yellow brick road, right? Then as she goes on the yellow brick road, she winds up picking up a few friends. And as she picks up these friends, all of them are missing something too. All of them want something. You have a scarecrow who needs a mind, who wants a brain. Then you have the Tin Man that comes around, he wants a heart. Then you have the lion that should be full of courage, but is in lack of courage. Well, there will be obstacles. There will be places in our lives to where things are uncomfortable, undesirable, and don't look the best at that time. But do you know that is part of our journey to get to where we want to go? The scene is set up in Matthew chapter 11. And I know you probably say, well, Mr. Chase, well, how do we start this journey? But I'm going to tell you right now what I need you to do. It's not to sit back, but I need you to sit up. I need you to hold on to your drawers and get ready. Let's take a ride. Then one thing I need you to do, I need you to put on some ruby red slippers right now. Even you men, I know you may want to think of some alligators, but I need you to put some ruby red slippers on right now. So spiritual ruby red slippers, because by the end of this voyage, by the end of this journey, you're going to want to make sure you have those on. And it starts off in Matthew 11. It sets up the scene. It says, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he had the devil.
Wow.
What has John done to these people to where they said he has a devil? The only thing he is doing out in the desert is trying to save people, trying to baptize them and prepare them for the coming of God, right? For the coming of the Lord. That's all he's doing, right? Then what happens? Jesus says, the Son of Man came eating and drinking. And they say, behold, a man, gluttonous and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners.
All right.
And so Jesus came, he was eating regular stuff, drinking regular things with the people, but they say something's wrong with him. There are places where people are going to say, why are you going in that place?
All right.
If you have the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Jesus to go in that place, and you're strong enough to bring somebody out of that place, you should go. It may be undesirable. It may leave a bad taste in your mouth, but its whole purpose is when you come out of there, your taste is right, and the person that you're bringing out taste is right too.
All right.
So we like to talk about things, the wild things. We got to go there. Sometimes we don't like to talk about where the wild things are. We don't want to talk about the places. We don't want to talk about the heart. We don't want to talk about the mind. What's inside those things? What's inside your wild place? What's inside that heart of yours? What's inside that mind of yours? What's inside?
Right.
Verse 20.
All right.
I'm going to read 19 right fast and amplified. I know Deacon's probably back there at the sound booth talking about why you ain't reading it in amplified, but I'm ready to read it for you right quick. It says, the Son of Man came eating and drinking with others. And they say, behold, a glutton and a wine drinker.
All right.
A friend of tax collectors and especially wicked sinners. Especially wicked sinners. Jesus wasn't scared to get his hands dirty.
All right.
Jesus wasn't scared to go into that bar. Jesus wasn't scared to go into that strip club. Jesus wasn't scared to go into that drug house. If that's where he needed to go, that's where he went. But why do we sometimes act as church people, church members? I'm a pastor, I'm a minister, I'm on the leadership board, I'm in the pulpit, I can't go to those places.
All right.
But what if you never came out of that place?
All right. Yeah.
What if that place is meant for you to go so you can see yourself to be able to be turned around and say, I was you once. I need you to come with me.
All right.
I'm on a voyage. I'm on a walk right now with Christ, with God, and I see where I came from, and I see where I'm trying to go. I need to go, but I want you to come around right with me.
All right.
As we go to verse 20, because we got to talk about the heart. It's something about the tin man in his heart. I know he wasn't the first one picking up on the voice, but he's the first one in my sermon today. The tin man, he needed a heart.
All right.
But one thing about the tin man, he had a strong outer shell.
Oh, wow.
Come on now.
He had a strong outer shell, so he thought he could take pretty much anything. He thought any words that you said couldn't get through him. Is that any of us?
Yeah.
He thought he could make it through any type of situation, any type of ordeal, and he'll be fine.
All
But
right.
do you know one day the storm came?
Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir.
storm came and something happened. You ain't as tough as you think you are.
All right.
Because this water's going to come and get on you, and before you know it, you can't move, you can't talk, and you can't even speak. And then you can't ask for help when you need it. When the people walk by here and say, what if you ask him for and nobody can hear you?
All right.
He needed a heart, but he thought he was strong enough without one to begin.
Come on now.
Is that us?
My God.
Do we have a strong outer shell? Do we think people can say anything they want and it'll just bounce off of me? I don't care what they say. I don't care what they think. It's fine. We, as people, have to get better at knowing when we need to call out for help.
Come on now.
Knowing that we are not King Kong. We are not the Tin Man. Verse 20 says, then he began, this is an amplified, he began to censor and reproach the cities in which most of his mighty works had been performed, because they did not repent and their hearts were not changed.
Wow.
It takes you to have a changed heart to come out of the wild things.
All right.
Those wild things are in there. You have to get them out. You have to change. If you don't change, they stay there.
All right.
They say inside, when you want to tame an animal, you have to take the fight out of the animal.
All right.
You have to put the animal down to where they think they don't have any hope or any will left in them. In our hearts, if we have those evil things, we have to put it down and put our foot on it.
All right. Yes, sir.
Put your foot on it.
Speak, Lord. Speak,
Say,
Lord.
you are not going to raise up in me. I'm not going to forget you because you help me to stay strong, but I'm going to keep you down so you don't come running back up out of me later.
All right.
All he wanted them to do was to have a changed heart. Says, woe to you, Shorzin. Woe to you, Bethesda. For if the mighty works were done, in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, this is verse 21, they would long ago have repented in sackcloth and ashes. And their hearts would have been changed.
Wow.
The Lord is saying there's some stuff that's happening in your life. If other people would have seen it, they would have changed.
All
But
right.
you are going through these situations, you are going through these issues, but you still staying the same.
Wow.
You think ain't nothing wrong. You think this is just status quo, this is just the way it needs to be. This is the way it's gotta be. Come on, come on. The heart, Pastor spoke about this before. The heart is the most fertile soil in your body.
All right.
So that means the things that you put up off in it, yeah. The things that you put in it will sprout and they will grow. You know, if this is your first time hearing me preach a disclaimer, you know already. I will probably make up 1 or 2 words and then will add them to my Minister Chase dictionary that you can purchase maybe later. Let me show you something. What happens to a heart when it becomes overpowered? Let's go somewhere. We're going to go to Daniel chapter 5.
Yes.
Daniel chapter 5. I'm trying to see. We're going to start at 18 or we're going to go straight to 20. We'll hit 18 just a little bit. Because Daniel chapter 5, this is Nebuchadnezzar. The Lord had put him in a place to where all kingdoms and everything were at his feet, at his disposal.
All right.
He had the nations, languages, anybody, anytime he walked, they would tremble because he could say, kill him right there. Kill him. There we go. All right. But verse 20 happens to Mr. Nebuchadnezzar. It says, but when his heart was lifted up and his mind and spirit were hardened so that he dealt proudly, he was disposed from his kingly throne and his glory was taken from him.
Oh my God.
Sometimes in church, we think we're Christians. We're better than the people out there in the world in them wild places. All right? Come on, bro. Come on. So then I can teach you the stuff I barely learned in my Sabbath school study, in my weekend, but I'm better than you.
Wow.
Oh, then we have some of those, you know what? I am Christian, but I go to this big mega church. And so my mega church is bigger and better than your little old bitty church. So I know more word than my pastor, my bishop, and all my people know more word than you do.
Oh my God.
But you see what will happen if you think that you are that much better, that much more inclined. What happened to Nebuchadnezzar? Verse 21, Daniel 5:21 says, he was driven from among men. The Lord said, you know what? I'm going to punish you so bad. I'm going to take you away from men.
Right.
So, and his heart and mind was made like the beast, and he dwelled, and his dwelling was with the wisdom. Oh, yeah, that's the Amplified version. Yeah, it says, and he dwelled was with the wild asses. He was fed with grass like oxen. His body was wet with the dew of the heavens until he learned, listen to this, until he learned and knew that the Most High God rules in the kingdom of men.
Wow.
Listen to that. We don't want to go to a place where the Lord has to put us, not in our homes, not living with our mamas, not living with our daddies. We don't want to have to go to a place where we're just roaming down the streets, just roaming around.
Right.
You can ask a homeless person today, would they prefer to be in a home or would they prefer to be out on the street? Our poll is probably say 85% of them will say, I'd rather be in a house.
All
I'd rather be
right.
in a home. I'd rather be eating and knowing that I'm going to have a place to go and not have to worry about anything.
Right. My God.
So as we are on our voyage, we can't come too haughty to think that we are everything. We are the it. We're the first thing and the best thing since sliced bread.
All right.
Time is running. John 13:2 reads this. Listen to this. It says, so it was during supper, because we always think we're covered, right? We think you're safe, we think you're good. Right? But look at this. This is a person I'm getting ready to read about that was with Jesus for his whole ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Walked by him, sat with him, ate with him, and thought maybe he was okay. Like he had a shield or a force field around him. But watch this. John 13, verse 2, this is in the Amplified, it says, so it was during supper, Satan having already put the thought of betraying Jesus in the heart of Judas Iscariot. Imagine that. We say we go to church all the time. So the devil can't touch me. I'm immune to the devil. But this is a person right here that didn't leave his old ways where the wild things were. He was a thief from the beginning, and he's a thief then. He was the one holding the money bag, so he always wanted to go in there to get out whenever he had a choice to. Can you ask, what's in your wild place right now? What's in your wild place right now that you need to get up out of there? You don't have to say it out loud, but what's there? What's in that heart? What do you need to weed? What do you need to prune out? Jesus. Ain't gonna be because I got like 2 hours worth of stuff. And I told my boss, that's Miss Connie Smith out there right there in the back. I told my boss, I said, we're not like that Southern Baptist, real black Southern Baptist people, they can stay up there 2 or 3 hours. I told her we were that type of church. I'm trying to hold to that. I'm trying to hold to it. But why is the heart so important? Why is it so important? Matthew 5 and 8. This is why it's so important.
Yeah.
Deacon gonna be having turning flips because I'm reading a lot of Amplified today.
Man, it's good.
Now he says, blessed, happy, invariably fortunate, and spiritually prosperous, possessing the happiness produced by the experience of God's favor and especially conditions by the revelation of his grace, regardless of their outward conditions, are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.
Yeah.
So it broke it down, didn't it? Yeah. How much more blessed you'll be with the pureness of your heart.
Yeah.
Right. Taking those wild things up out of it, the pureness of your heart. God wants that.
Yeah.
He wants us to be close to him.
Right.
He wants us to be in his bosom. He wants that. And we should want that too.
Right.
He should be important enough for us to put things down.
Yeah.
He should be important enough.
Yeah, Jesus.
And as we go to the second part of our journey, it leads right on up to our mind. And it's funny in the Wizard of Oz, of the Wiz, the Scarecrow, he's sitting out in the middle of a field. And if anybody's seen a scarecrow, he sits up on a cross. But he comes down from that cross. But a scarecrow is set out in a field where there's a lot of wind and everything going on. What happens to a piece of cloth that's in the wind? It gets tossed to and fro and it gets tattered.
All right.
What situations in your life that toss you to and fro and you done got tattered in your mind just ain't where you thought it was?
My God.
The scarecrow said, only thing I want is a brain, the only thing I want is a mind to be able to think and a mind to be able to do. What if we say that same thing and say, I need a mind like yours, Lord?
Right.
I need a mind like yours, Lord. I need a mind so I can understand, Lord. I need that. All right. Why do we need that? Why do we need a mind to be able to think like him? Do we need one?
Yeah.
It's the same conversation, Luke chapter 10.
All right.
And we're going to read verse 19. But up in like 16 and 17, it talks about hearing and heeding the word of God.
All right.
And not rejecting the word of God.
Yeah.
So many times in our travel, we want to reject the word of God, even if it's the right thing.
My God.
Come on. We get tethered and we like, you can sew up your tetheredness if you heeded to the word of God.
Yeah.
The storm don't always have to feel so boisterous and so treacherous. Have you ever went into a storm that stood out? When the tornadoes and everything happened, my wife's like, there's tornadoes. And I went outside. Boy, what you doing? I got got. I went outside. Some people ain't say that was stupid, Chase, but you know. And I watched them as they went on by. The Lord told me, you got faith in me that much? Don't stand out there then.
Jesus.
Do you have faith in him that much when troubles are going on in your life? You can stand there and face it. Not get thrown to and fro and have a mind to say, Lord, I know you are with me. I know you are standing here. I know you are in me.
Glory, glory.
Luke 10:19 reads, behold, I have given you authority.
All right.
Wait. I can't go straight there. Oh, you know why I can't go straight there? Oh. Luke, we're going to have to start at 17. Listen to this. It says, the 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name.
All right.
Listen to that. This is the power you have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he said unto them, listen to this, I saw Satan falling like a lightning flash from heaven.
All right.
Then we got to get to 19, because this makes it more powerful. He says, behold, I have given you authority and power to trample upon serpents and scorpions, and physically and mental strength and ability over all the powers, listen to this, that the enemy possesses, and nothing shall in any way harm you.
All right.
Whatever trap the devil is trying to put in front of you, he has given you strength. He has given you the might. He has put the possession of authority in you. To say, devil, you will not harm me.
Lord.
Devil, I'm going to keep on moving even when the storm is strong.
My God.
I'm not going to be like the 10 man that think I'm all powerful.
Right.
And get all stiffed up by this storm. I'm going to keep on moving. I'm going to keep on making progressions in my life. If you'd have given me this authority and the ability, because if you don't, you may have the authority, but if you don't put the ability, the work, the action into it, you'll be in the same place as that 10 man. Just stuck.
Yeah.
And in your mind, we always try to hide things. We may make rooms, we may make closets in our minds and think the Lord can't make it there. The Lord can't get there. But as long as I don't say it out loud, it's fine. That's why we go to Ezekiel 11:5. Yeah, I got y'all turning today.
Glory to God.
Ezekiel 11:5. It says, then the Spirit of the Lord fell upon me and said unto me, speak, thus said the Lord. Thus have you said, O house of Israel. Listen to the Lord, what the Lord's going to tell him. He says, for I know the things that come into your mind, every one of them.
My God.
So that thing you thought that was a secret, do you know? I know we've been taught this all the time, but it's another thing to hear it and read it.
Right.
Every little evil thought, every little deceitful thought, every little good thought, it don't always have to be bad, but every little thought that you have, he already knows.
All right.
So why do we try to act like we can get away with stuff and we can't? Why we try to play charades with God, try to play games with him, and we know what we really want to do.
All right.
If you give me this, I'll do that. If you give me this, I'll do that. I promise, Lord, I won't do this again. Really? And he already know. Why don't you come back to me again? I thought of that thought too. So I thought of that thought too. You know what? All them thoughts you're already thinking, I've already thought of them. So please come to me correct.
Yeah.
Be real. A lot of people don't like to be real. If you don't have food at home, you don't stay home. You open up your mouth and ask somebody for something. That pride may get you in the beginning. It may get you, but you ain't gonna be hungry no more.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You need gas money to get to work. But you don't want to tell nobody, but you got to make it work to be able to get that gas money, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't call somebody to get to work to get gas money later, you still gonna be at home with no money for gas the next day or the next day. Then your lights get cut off. So they say you may lose your job. So you gotta let pride come over you from actually getting stuff, getting things.
All right.
Right.
We can't be that way.
Right.
We have power. We have the authority to be able to tell the devil to get on the back burner, dude. Whatever you're trying to bring in front of me, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it. You can keep it. Just hold on to it. Thank you. I'm gonna go to Minister Price's favorite book in the Bible. Anybody know what that is? Romans 12:2. Let's go ahead and hit that right quick. Yeah. Romans 12:2. Y'all there? Y'all there? It says, do not be conformed to this world.
All right.
This age, fashioned after and adapted to its external superficial customs.
All right.
I know. My God.
I got to read all of it, then we'll come back and touch on it. It says, but be transformed, changed by the entire renewal of your mind, by its new ideals and its new attitude, so that you may prove for yourselves what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
All right.
The comma comes, it says, even the things which is good and acceptable and perfect in his sight for you.
My God.
And we can almost spend another hour on that.
Yep. Wow.
Our minds.
Yes, sir.
What's going on in those minds of ours? We have calculated decisions that go on in our minds. We make calculated plans on what goes on in our minds.
Right.
We have calculated prayers in our minds.
My God.
Is your mind like Christ's mind, or is your mind like your mind? Is your mind like your mama's mind, or your mind like your daddy's mind? What's your mind? What's going on when those wheels start to turn? What's in that mind of yours?
All right.
Is it wild things in that mind of yours? Are you thinking about sleeping with a couple of people in the church? Are you thinking about sleeping with a couple of people in your job? Are you thinking about doing some evil stuff? Are you thinking about stealing a couple of things from work? Are you thinking about stealing? What's going on in that mind?
All right.
Because that's one thing about the mind and the heart. Only person that knows it is you and God.
Yeah.
My God.
See, and the actions that come from you shows us what's in your mind and what's in your heart.
Yeah.
You can say you love God all day long, but if you going left and he going right, come on.
Yeah.
Be real with yourself. Be real with yourself.
Right.
Anytime you go to any type of AAA or whatever it is, they say first you have to admit that you got a problem.
All right.
Because if you can't admit it, it ain't real to no one else.
All right.
You can fake in front all you want to, but your actions are going to tell everybody what's real.
All right.
And the crazy thing is we deceive ourselves in thinking we're actually being truthful, and we done deceived ourselves. But everybody else still sees the old you.
My God.
The one at the facade, the one that comes in all nice, pretty, smelling good, makeup on, rings on, earrings, look all good. Is that real?
All right.
My God. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. All right. The third thing. We're going to get to the lion. We're going to skip over the lion right now. But the places. The places we must go to.
All right.
I'm going to give you a few definitions right now. Shorzen. It's a furnace of smoke. This is where you want to make sure you have on your ruby red slippers right now.
Right, right.
Because the places you go through may get hot.
All right.
There may be some smoke screens in front of you, but you can keep walking in your ruby red slippers. Because by the end, all I'm telling you, those ruby red slippers are going to be something awesome. Then you have Bethesda. Listen to this. It says house of fish or house of hunting.
All right.
I don't care. As long as you keep on going, you can be in a place where you're probably being hunted.
All right.
You can be in a place where you are hunting. Then you have Tyree, a place called a rock.
All right.
You may have obstacles in your life, but you can push those obstacles out of the way.
Yes.
All right. Then you have Capernaum. Listen to this. It amazes me. Capernaum is one of the places that Jesus done most of his greatest works.
All right.
The name of this village is a village of comfort.
Right.
If we keep walking in Jesus, we can have comfort in it.
All right.
Siddim and Ziddim. This is a place of hunting.
Wow.
This is a place, if we walk in Jesus and be with him, you can get hunted and not fall down. Think about it, walking with Jesus and not falling down.
Right.
These places that we go after we're on this full long journey of ours, we walk through it, we get through it. One thing, if you look down at your feet with these ruby red slippers, it's so funny and ironic to me that the slippers are red.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord told me that's a representation of the blood of Christ that's on your feet. That's the blood of Christ that is directing your paths to go through your journey. You may go through that furnace of hell in your life. You may go through that time of life where you think you're being hunted by the devil, but as long as you have me on your feet, as long as you have the blood covering, you can get through it.
Right.
You may have a stumbling block in front of you. You may have a block in front of you that you think you cannot conquer, think that you cannot move up out of the way. But if you have me with you at all times, I can make it. I can help you make it through.
All right.
This is a journey we must all take. Because by the end of the story, when she gets to the Emerald City, the other little fairy godmother, whatever she is, she comes on down and she looks at Dorothy and says, "You could have been gone a long time ago. Look down at your feet." That's been the answer the whole time. Jesus Christ has been our answer for the whole time.
All right.
Through all that stuff, he has been the answer. So that if you want to go home, just click your heels together and say, "I want to go home." You tell Christ, "I want to go home." The blood of Christ, I want to go home.
Glory to God.
The journey was just part of it.
All right.
We must all go through the journey. We have to go through the journey. It's going to be hard. It's not going to always be easy. Sugar drops and gumdrops. Sometimes there's going to be some jawbreakers off in there sometimes. Sometimes it's going to make your tooth hurt. And when it does hurt, from the 5925 Forest Lane, 209, Dallas, Texas. 972-229-7551. Dusty Dr. Tuxman. We don't charge for commercials. But come on now. And Psalms 119 reads, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path."
Yeah.
As we go on our journey on this yellow brick road in life, let's weed out the wild things. Let's get to a place to where when the Lord says you are home, he can say, y'all supposed to be with me.
Yeah.
Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Amen.
Right.
Obstacles will come.
Yeah.
They don't have to derail us.
All right.
They don't have to. I just plead with you today. Have you went to where the wild things are? Have you contended and contested with the things that's trying to keep you back?
All right.
Keeping you off the road of Christ? Have you overcome those things? Or even are you trying to overcome those things? Because that's the difference.
Yes, sir.
You have to try, you have to put some forth some effort to get over those things.
All right.
Glory to God.
Do y'all want to go home?
Yes,
Do you want to go home?
Yes, sir.
Because by the end, the wizard, the place that they were trying to go, the wizard couldn't even help himself. We try to go in and get answers from people that can't even help themselves, and Christ is the only answer. Christ is the only one that has the answer and the right place to go.
Yeah.
Right. Lord.
I see y'all young.
Glory to
So I'm going
God.
to pray. Where do I go for the day? What about the lion? The lion! The lion. He needed courage, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Where y'all think he got that courage from?
Come on now.
The word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path.
Yeah.
If the Lord gives you his word and you have his word within you, that gives you the courage to be able to fight and to battle the devil.
That's right.
When he tries to come to you, put that word out on him. Put that word out on him. Say, because what? I have the authority and the ability to overcome anything that you put in front of me. Those scorpions may come, but I can stomp them. Those serpents may come, but I can stomp them. It's the courage that the Lord gives you to be able to overcome all those obstacles. The wild things, he may try to roar at you, but you know, you look at him, he's a little bitty kid. Because I got the Lion of Judah within me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Lion of Judah. I don't think the Lord would have picked an animal that was a weak one. I don't think the Lord would have picked an animal that was a scary one. I know the Lord will pick an animal that's strong enough in that when he roars, the whole jungle listens to him. And if he put that in you, don't you know you can roar and the whole world will listen to you?
Oh my God. Jesus.
We don't walk through the mind. We don't walk through the heart. And then when you don't fix your mind and you don't fix your heart, he gives you that courage to be able to conquer the world. Make the world. Do you know if we sit in a kingdom with God?
Yeah.
And if he's your daddy, he says the world is a footstool to me.
Yeah.
If the Lord is a footstool to your daddy, don't you know the world is a footstool to you too?
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about vengeance. It's the Lord's.
Yeah.
Where are you in your journey today?
Right.
Were you just at the beginning when you thought you got one evil thing and everything was gone?
Yeah.
But do you know there's other evil things that's gonna come? But it's on that journey when you overcome.
All right.
Are you at your scarecrow stage right now where you just trying to get your mind right?
Right.
Or you at the 10-man stage where you just trying to get your heart right?
Yeah.
Have we made it to that courage stage to where we can say, devil, get off of me?
Right.
Yeah. Or are we at the wizard stage to say, you know what? I can't help you, but I can help myself. I'm going to just fly on up out of here.
Come on.
That stage, we never want to be a part of.
All right.
Because what good is you have some word, you have some knowledge, and you just let everyone else behind?
Wow. Come on now.
Will that blood be on your hands? Come on now. There are places, there are people, there are clubs, there are churches, there are workplaces, there's restaurants. There are things out there where we need to go, where we need to confess, where we need to talk to people. And I'm not saying you have to stand up out on the street sign with no justice, no peace, or Jesus is the way. Conversation. Simple conversations. Bus driver, you come across what, 20, 30,000 people almost a day? A lot of people. I know you pick up a lot of people. But all of us come into contact with people daily.
Yeah.
Do we know some of those people? We may be on the scarecrow stage, but they may be at the 10-man stage, but we need to help them get through their journey.
Right. All right. All right.
Because we always try to think that it's all us. I'm the only one going through trouble. I'm the only one got issues. You know, even the richest people got financial issues, and we think money can solve a lot of stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, some of them going to jump up off a cliff. All of us, some of us, we got marital problems. You think it's only you? It ain't. Some of us got single issues. You think it's you? It ain't.
Come on now.
There's a lot of things that we think we are in the boat by ourselves.
Right.
But you're not.
Right. Right.
One thing we have to do is, like we learned earlier, you got to call out.
Right. Yeah.
You got to call out to Christ.
Right.
He can't help you if you don't call. You just sit there. What good is a phone that rings if nobody picks it up? God says, I'll pick up that phone when you call me. All you got to do is pick it up. Dial my number. I'll pick it up. I'm not going to call ID you. I'm not going to blue dot you. Y'all Apple phone users, y'all know what that means. I'm going to actually pick it up. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to give you an answer. So what part of our journey are we on? That's only you can answer that. I can't answer it for you. Whatever city you're going through right now, keep the blood of Jesus on. If it's getting hot, keep on walking. If a rock get in front of you, kick it out of the way. If you think you're being hunted, walk a little bit faster. But you know what's so funny? You may be getting hunted, but it's something different when you become the hunter. When you start hunting for Christ, when you start trying to get to Christ, He will give you stuff that you need. Christ wants you to catch it. He ain't trying to run from you.
All right.
Yeah.
He wants you to catch it. The problem is some of us don't want to hunt for it. We think we go through a drive-through and get it. You can't go through a drive-through and get it. You can't go through a drive-through. I'm the finish. I already went over my time. Oh, Heavenly Father, I hope, Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you've done today, Heavenly Father.
Thank you, Lord.
Heavenly Father, I hope I've been a great servant to you, Heavenly Father. That your word has went out, oh Heavenly Father. That today, oh Heavenly Father, we can on our journey to get to you, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you've done, all the things that you've made possible, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, help us weed out those things, those wild things that may be in our hearts, wild things that may be in our minds, oh Heavenly Father, and give us that courage, oh Heavenly Father.
Oh, and it shows up right. Because back to
To
what
be able
Ray
to
did,
tell the devil to get back, oh
flipped, like
Heavenly
the
Father,
belief, like the
that you cannot have anything that you have already given me, oh Heavenly Father, and we can use that authority, oh Heavenly Father, and we can apply it, oh Heavenly Father, to our lives. We just ask, oh Heavenly Father, that you touch us in mind.
How long has it been since I called her to order this chicken?
Thank you for everything that you've done and all the things that you have made possible. In your darling son, Jesus' name, we pray. We say
12:23.
Amen.
Yes, Lord.
Glory to God.
He got another offering. That's what he's thinking about.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. I'm sorry I was outside to take care of some outside business. So it's time for the offering. Raise your hand if you need an envelope. Amen. Does anyone else need an envelope? Amen. 2 Corinthians 9:6-10 reads, "But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Let every man do according as he hath purposed in his heart, not grudgingly or necessity, for God loveth you. And God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that you having always all sufficiency in everything, may abound to every good work. As it is written, he has scattered abroad, he has given to the poor, his righteousness abideth forever. And he that supplieth seed to the sower and bread for food shall supply and multiply your seed for sowing, and increase the fruits of your righteousness." Amen.
Amen.
We're gonna be doing blessing show.
Father Heavenly, thank you and praise you. We thank you, Father God, for your many blessings, Lord. We thank you, Father God, for the gifts of your Lord. We thank you, Father God, that you use to further your kingdom. In Jesus' name. Amen. As Dana's coming, just one announcement. The stairwell across the street, please just to leave that one open, leave the stairwell spot open. so that they can get up and down the stairs, all right? All right, amen.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We had a great word from Minister Chase today. Amen. All right. And now two of our visitors today. Please stand. All right, amen. We are so delighted to have you here today. We don't take your presence here lightly. And we would like for you at this time, I know you've already received the packet, right? Okay, packet. Then we would like you to follow Lady B right here. And she's going to escort you out in the hallway over there. And we welcome you here. Please come back, okay?
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, now I have a few church announcements. Okay, God has blessed us this day to honor our Father in today's communion services. This allows us to show God our appreciation. We will be fed by the culinary ministry group today, right after service, and then communion will start after that. Okay. All right, so for Bible study, for next week, Monday, it will be the Chase family that will be presenting that night.
Amen.
Okay, and Friday, it'll be Pastor and First Lady conducting that Bible study on Friday. And then Sabbath, the 6th, will be your youth and teen day after Sabbath. Okay?
Amen.
Okay. Next Sabbath, the youth teen group. I don't know what that is.
It's a meeting
It's
for
a
the
meeting.
leaders of the youth and teen.
Oh, sorry. Okay, meetings.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we've gotten the announcements over. So now for the birthdays and anniversaries.